Anniversary of President Bola Tinubu's administration that's in Nigeria, and he has continued to emphasize the government's resolve to make Nigeria a better place for all citizens. President Tinubu sent a message to Nigerians this morning, assuring that government reforms are working and will continue to yield positive results. He says the country is on course to building a greater, more economically stable nation. On the economy, President Tinubu emphasized that Nigeria is better positioned for growth and prepared to withstand global shocks. President Tinubu mentions that state revenues have increased by over 6 trillion naira in 2024, and subnational governments can now reduce debt burden and meet salaries and pension obligations. The president also spoke on his administration's intervention in health. He says more than 1,000 primary health centers are being revitalized nationwide. An additional 5,500 PHCs are being upgraded. The president acknowledged the improved collaboration among security agencies and increased intelligence-driven operations. Mr. President concluded his message with this quote, "The future is bright, and together we will build a stronger, more inclusive Nigeria that we can all be proud of," end quote. Now, leaders from at least 15 African countries converged on Lagos State to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. General Yakubu Gowon joined President Bola Tinubu and other dignitaries to reflect on the journey and development of the regional bloc in the 50 years of its existence. State House correspondent Femi Akonde has details.
"50 years after a treaty for regional cooperation was signed, ECOWAS leaders returned to where it all started. It was nostalgic, particularly for General Yakubu Gowon, who is the last of the founding fathers alive. This was an event to also reflect on the journey of regional cooperation and re-strategize on setting realistic goals for the future.
The post-Cold War era is over. New divisions are emerging. Technology is advancing at an extraordinary pace. The pressure on the old order is intense. We need ECOWAS more than ever to meet the challenge of unfiltered data, unregulated cryptocurrency, AI, climate change, organized crime, cyber slavery, and human trafficking and violent extremism.
Today, ECOWAS represents more than an institution. It is a symbol of the enduring aspiration of over 400 million citizens.
President Bola Tinubu, as chairman of the authority of ECOWAS heads of government, declared his commitment to the ideals and philosophies of ECOWAS founding fathers.
We are embracing innovation to drive growth from internet exchanges, platforms like ECOGO, which strengthen gender reporting and regional accountability. Despite our progress, challenges remain. Our greatest task now is implementation. We are lagging behind on implementation, and I urge all member states to match policy with action.
General Yakubu Gowon still has fond memories of the 1975 ECOWAS Treaty. He acknowledged the resilience and unity of the regional bloc.
I can assure you this was the view since when we started it. Yes, there are military, there are other democratic in the government, but the military are making sure that we do things democratically, but militarily democratically.
Beyond commemorating a treaty that was signed in 1975 establishing ECOWAS, there are deeper issues now affecting the regional bloc, such as poor education, healthcare, insecurity, and the big elephant in the room, which is unconstitutional takeover of government. The regional bloc will have to deal with these issues affecting cooperation and integration in West Africa. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Lagos.
To delve more into ECOWAS at 50 with me, Dr. Kojo Asante, who is Director of Public Engagement and Partnerships, CDD Ghana, joins me from the capital city, Accra. Good to have you join us, Dr. Asante. By its name, ECOWAS appears positioned as an economic body, but we've seen it also take up political and military integration as well. Walk us through what ECOWAS stands for and if it remains on course.
Thank you, and a very good afternoon to all your viewers and your listeners. Actually, people would say that in many ways, ECOWAS has abandoned its core objective, which is the economic integration agenda that brought the member states together in 1975. Since that period, it seems to have been overwhelmed and dominated by security issues, political stability issues, violence, conflict issues, and in recent times, you would say that even the democracy objectives have come, under serious scrutiny. So, in a way, even though the economic integration agenda was what brought many leaders together, many countries together, down the road, that has almost been overtaken by a lot of the political and security issues that seems to really dominate ECOWAS.
All right, about 50 years after now, just yesterday, these West African leaders came together and they reenacted the agreement establishing ECOWAS. Which areas do you think they actually need to improve upon such that ECOWAS will remain formidable?
I think the one sort of big issue currently is that young people are losing faith in the democratic order because they see that leaders are not living up to the protocol standards, like the supplementary protocol on good governance and elections, for instance. You see manipulation of constitutions to extend term limits. You see suppression of media and other undemocratic acts, and people are feeling that the political arrangements are not delivering development for them and looking at alternatives. So there is a real moral question as to whether ECOWAS, at least those who subscribe to the treaty, are able to live up to the standards that the citizens want, because the longer they fail to do so, then some of the things we have already seen with the alliance of the Sahel states, we will see more of that. So I think that's a big question about how ECOWAS begin to signal that it is going to be able to move from the ECOWAS of states to the ECOWAS of people and really show relevance to the people. I think that's the biggest agenda right now.
Okay, and one recurring theme during the course of the celebration was calling for self-introspection by the leaders. Do you really see them able to come together and perhaps, woo and get these countries that have left the bloc to return?
I don't think they have a choice. I think that's even every citizen in all those countries asking the same questions, and ECOWAS leaders know that they need to begin to show leadership. Otherwise, they will lose their populations to, alternative models, most of them authoritarian, like military rule. So, but I don't think citizens in West Africa should leave this job to only ECOWAS leaders. I think, if this fails or works, it would all depend on whether citizens are able to push the agenda for their leaders to follow. If they leave it to their leaders and they fail, citizens will suffer the consequences of it. So I think citizens must push the agenda in their various countries so that it's easier when they meet for that agenda to be on the top priority.
Director of Public Engagement and Partnerships, CDD, Dr. Kojo Asante, thank you for your time on World Now.
a pleasure. Thank you very much.
That's World Now today. Thank you for watching. There is more